video. So today I'm just going to show you the downside of writing covered calls. Now don't let the words confuse you. Some people call it writing covered calls, other people like me sell it selling covered calls. So it's basically the same thing, writing covered calls, selling covered calls. But you've seen my other videos where I show you how to write covered calls and how it can be some guaranteed profits for simply holding a stock. Now in this video I'm going to show you the downside of doing that, so basically the losing side. Now it's not technically a losing side because you're still making money, you're just not making as much as you thought you would make, or as much as you would have made if you wouldn't have sold the covered call. So I'm going to use a Carnival Cruise Line here as an example. So yesterday you can see I actually bought, yesterday I bought 200 shares of Carnival Cruise Lines. I bought them with an average price of $11.50. And I wrote a covered call yesterday. The same day that I bought them, I wrote a covered call that expires today. So that was a 1-day expiration covered call. A contract, basically. I sold 2 contracts. And for those 2 contracts, I'm going to show you right here. I got paid $30 for each. So that's a $60 premium that I collected for writing those contracts yesterday. So that's $60 right there, and then the strike price was actually $12. Yesterday it was trending below $12, and after hours, of course, you get that big pop news on the White House, the reopening of the economy. So anyway, it had the big pop, but still at this moment, it's not really considered a losing trade because anything can happen. I mean, it can go right back down below 12 by the end of the day. The market just opened not too long ago. It's actually 9:29 a.m. here, Central Time. So at the moment, since the strike price was to sell them at $12, so my capital gains, it's only going to be $50 for each contract. So that's $100. So even though it says here 170 in gains so far, my total gains, if this ends up above 12 by the end of the day, it's only $100. So my max profit is only until 12 because that's the strike price. So I'm losing out on anything above 100 right here. You can see the gains. Anything above 100 is what I would be losing out on. I wouldn't be able to collect those gains because I was willing to sell my shares at $12 per share. But still, you got to look at it, you got to look at the positive side. I bought them at $11.50, and I wrote 2 covered call contracts because I have 200 shares for a $12 strike price, and I collected $30 for each. So basically, if today, by the end of the day, Carnival Cruise Line ends up above $12, my max profit would be $100 plus the $60 that I collected. So $160 between yesterday and today, which is, it's still pretty nice, right? Now, of course, I would lose on the upside, but then I had no idea. I mean, there was no way of telling whether the price of the stock was going to jump, that high real quick. So this is the risk that you take when you're selling covered calls. You have a max profit, and you're not sure whether the price of the stock is really going to go up or make that big move within that time frame. So again, today it's still very early. Anything can happen. This can end up being below 12. But I wanted to make this video right now because I wanted to show you guys what is the downside of doing this while it's still happening, so you can actually see it in real time. So remember, I bought 200 shares. For each 100 shares, I can write 1 contract, which is a covered call, and collect some premium. And I get to pick the date and the time frame. And I picked only a day. So I bought them yesterday. I wrote that contract for today that expires today, and I collected $30 for each. So I collected $60. And right now, to sell them at 12 basically, because I thought, okay, maybe it's going to float around right underneath $12 by tomorrow, because it's Friday, and I know market makers like to kill the options on Fridays for the most part. So that's the reason I sold these covered call contracts, just to collect some money up front right away. And what happens? So the Carnival Cruise Line, jumps all the way up to $13.42. And at this moment, I believe people are just gonna take profits. It might end up under 12. So if it ends up under 12, how that's gonna happen is, well, I made the $60 for simply selling those covered calls. Plus, I keep the shares, and I can turn around and sell another covered call by Monday. Now, what happens if it ends up above $12? So I'm gonna make the 100 here, nothing above 100, just 100 plus the $60 that I collected yesterday for writing those covered calls. So basically, this is the downside of doing it. You have a max profit on what you can make when you're writing these covered calls. And again, I wanted to make this video right now because it's a very great example on so you can see on what you're missing out on. So at the moment, I would only be missing out on $53, 52. It's changing because the market is open, but it's not a lot. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the bright side. You're still in it to make some money. You're still making money. One of the guys that does covered calls on YouTube, also, he calls it collecting crumbs, and that's exactly what it is. So collecting crumbs here and there, and just grow your account little by little. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.